Hello to everyone who is joining us right now. We are just getting started, letting everyone in. We will be getting started in just a moment or two. So hello to everyone joining us. Get yourselves comfortable. Like I said, we'll get started in just a moment or two.
Hello, everyone.
Everybody wave.
I'm waving. I'm waving.
Ashley's camera's not working at the moment.
But she's not. Sorry, guys.
But she's waving.
I am virtually.
Like I said, we'll get started in just a moment. I think Ashley's also helping us let people in.
Yes, I am.
Great. Thank you very much. You mute me, Ashley.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard day today. I am sorry. I think I'm still in vacation mode. Sorry.
No worries. Dawn, I sent those links over to you.
I got them.
Excellent. Great.
Where's everyone today?
Where's everyone calling in from?
Where's everyone from? We got a lot of sunny windows in the background.
That's always a nice thing to see. All righty. Let's get things started. Let's see. We've got another Connecticut. Oh, Sacramento. That's very good. Seattle. Ooh, all over the place. That's awesome. Perfect.
All right, let's give it a go.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's get started then. I'm going to share my screen, share the sound, and make sure that I do that. We'll get started with our video.
When the event industry gets knocked down, we get back up. With live events returning, maybe it's time to rebuild. With a more flexible workforce, Cadre is the smartest way to contract event industry freelancers. Compliantly work with your own freelancers or access thousands of new faces from a single user-friendly platform. And with our addition of meetingjobs.com, post your full-time openings on the industry's premier job board. It's time. Get back up with us. Visit us today.
Yay, promo.
Yay, promo.
Was anybody's card in that little flyby in the video? Was anyone there? No. Every once in a while, you may see your card show up somewhere in our marketing.
Keep your eyes open. You never know when you'll show up for it.
Yep.
Well, I would like to start out and welcome everyone joining us today. Good afternoon to those on the East Coast. Good morning to everybody else joining us today. I am Kate Zeitvogel. I'm the marketing director at Cadre, product specialist, and your go-to for all sorts of questions. I am happy to be joined today by our wonderful team. I think I saw that Debbie joined us today too, which is excellent. I'm going to get started. I'm going to pass it over to Todd. Todd, introduce yourself. Who are you? Why are you important to Cadre? And tell us, have you done any traveling this summer?
Tell us, what was the last part? I missed.
Have you done any traveling this summer?
I have. I recently went to New York City, and it was nice to see the place alive again.
Awesome.
Prior to that, I was in San Antonio. I probably traveled 12 times since last March, so it's obviously gotten progressively better and better. I'm Todd. I'm the owner and president of Cadre. I know a lot of you, and I'm looking forward to having a lot of good questions today. Back to you, Kate.
Excellent. Thank you, Todd. It's nice hearing other people travel and coming up with other vacation ideas for myself. So I'm going to keep up with this idea and pass it over to Dawn, who is the head of Meeting Jobs. Dawn, tell us a little bit more about Meeting Jobs. We got a taste of it in that video there. Where are you? I think you mentioned you're in North Carolina right now.
Yep.
And have you done any traveling this summer?
My name's Dawn Penfold. I'm with Meeting Jobs, and I bring in the permanent placement aspect of our wonderful company here. And so anybody who wants a permanent position or is hiring for permanent people, this is where you go. As well as we have brought in some of our clients. When Todd bought Meeting Jobs, we brought in some of our clients who are going to be doing some hiring some independent contractors. We have 3 or 4 of them who we just went on board with. So that's kind of exciting. Travel wise, I had a knee injury earlier this summer. So what I've done is had everybody come here. So we've been having open door policy and people coming in and out of our house in North Carolina. So it's great to see. And I look forward to getting back on the road again.
Wonderful. It's nice having that open door policy and getting a taste of the world come to you.
Yeah.
Kim, let's pass it over to you. Kim is our general manager. Kim, you are in Chicago. Have you done any traveling this summer?
One time, South Haven, Michigan.
Okay.
And then I'm getting ready to go to Seattle on August 10th, 9th, 10th. So yeah, looking forward. I haven't been on an airplane since February 23rd of 2020. So
You remember
I'll let you know how it goes.
I love it. I think so many of us are in that same boat. We have it marked down the exact day that our life just stopped.
Yeah, well, that's the day I came back from Seattle. Before everything. Yeah, right after that, everything exploded. So yes, yep. But looking forward to getting back to seeing family out there. So
yes, and being back on the road because you are so used to traveling.
I know, right? It's like I travel like every month, every couple of months. So yeah.
Oh goodness. I'm going to pass it over to Ashley now, whose camera not working today, but we've got her beautiful new headshot up there. So
Yeah.
Ashley, I know you're waving to all of us.
I am. I'm really sorry. And I did try to fix the camera. Everybody can attest to that, but it's just not working today. Sorry, guys.
No worries. We're happy that you are here with us. We love picking your brain while you are with us here. Tell us, have you done any traveling this summer, Ash?
I have. I actually just got back last night from visiting some friends in Kentucky who live on a farm. So we were living the farm life for the past week. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I'm sort of happy to be home, but I'm wishing I was still there.
Oh, nice. Oh, that sounds incredible. Complete change of pace from the Chicago life that you have right now.
It was, and the kids loved getting dirty and just running in cornfields. So they were very feral. It was wonderful. And Dawn, I did not know about this open door policy, so I will be there.
She's getting in the car right after this. Awesome. Well, Debbie, I am excited to introduce Debbie. She's not been able to join us before, but she's able to squeeze us in today. Her camera also not working, but that is a-okay. I am just excited to have her here. Hi, Debbie. Thank you for joining us. What have you been up to?
Hi, guys. Oh my gosh. Just craziness. I've gone to, I've done Gulf Shores, Alabama in April.
Wow.
I did Florida in June. I did multiple trips to the lake house.
Nice.
And I'm leaving Sunday for Punta Cana.
Debbie's our jet setter. No wonder she's not available for these.
Yeah. And then September, I'll be going to Mackinac Island for a long weekend.
Oh, nice.
It's good to be Debbie.
It's good to be
Debbie.
Yeah, it's been a good summer. Trying to get in as much as we can, and enjoy every minute of it. So
excellent. That's what we like to hear. That's the important thing, enjoying every minute of it. Good. Well,
Yeah.
Debbie, I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you for joining us. We'll be coming
No
around
problem.
to pick your brain.
Okay. I don't know how much there is to pick, but
I'm sure there's something in there. We'll find. The last person I would like to introduce is a special guest today, Erin McCulley. She is with our accounting team. So Erin, welcome. Where are you calling in from? And have you done any traveling this summer?
I am calling in from Bloomington, Indiana, and I have done a little bit of traveling. I just made a trip up to Cleveland. I think that was at the end of June to visit some family that we have up there.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, Erin, we absolutely will be picking your brain today, making sure that As we all start getting back on the road and needing to upload those expenses, that we do it correctly the first time so that we don't have to come back around in circles multiple times. But that leads me to the very first thing, one of the number one questions, and I think it's a number one question that's very slowly, but actually pretty quickly, now that I think about it, fading into the background. And the question is there work? And yes, there is. We are coming back, which is wonderful. It's such a great feeling to be busy again, to have work to do, and to get people on the road again. And of course, with that comes expenses. You have expenses that you need to file. And one of the great things about Cadre is it being a one-stop shop for everything. So uploading your expenses, we make it quick and easy. As soon as you hit the road, you can start uploading those expenses. So we are going to take a look today at best practices for those. I'm going to pick Erin's brain to make sure that we know those best practices and some tips for getting that done. Todd, would you share your screen so that we can take a look? We'll just show people, I think some have filed expenses before, others have not. So for those that have not, this will really be informative, but hopefully helpful for everyone. So let me pass it over to you.
So when, after an event, you all get prompted through the system, you have 7 days to submit your expense report, right? So you're going to get an email, I think, the day after your event, and then 3 days, maybe, or 2 days before your expense report is due, and like the morning of your expense report due, right? So we're really trying to keep you informed of when the deadline is, because it's very important that we're able to take your expenses and get them to the client so they can get reimbursed, and they can put those expenses on their billing, right, to their client. So I'm just going to show you today what your expenses look like when they come through to the planner, right? And so I'm going to come into, this is one of our planners, Cindy Meyer, and she has an active event that has been completed, and a couple of staff have submitted, let's see here, their expenses. And I have to move my little people window. When you submit expenses, it's very similar on the client side, right? Very similar format. When you're uploading your expenses, you're asked to put in an amount, the description, any notes, the picture of the file, right? So all those get transmitted to the client, right? And they're able to come in and look at exactly what you've submitted, right? Right, and approve or disapprove or request details on that, right? And it's very important that we kind of give you one shot at doing this, right? Because we don't want them all trickling in. So once you submit your expense report, it's pretty much done. Our ability to go back in and open that again to allow you to resubmit is literally a pain in the neck for us. And we're trying to, and that's the reason why it is a pain in the neck, because we want to keep it that way, right? We want to enforce that standard. And every time you say, I forgot something, we have to literally go to our developers in New York and ask them to open that up, right? It's not something easy for us to do. But Erin, why don't you talk about expenses and what you see people submitting and some tips?
Well, I process expense reports for managed clients, Merits, American Express primarily. I very rarely ever see any expense report come over that's not for them. Something that I really feel like I need to stress is for advances. If you have received an advance for a rental car, for example, you want to make sure that you include that expense on your expense report, because that advance will be deducted from your pay. So the expense needs to be there to offset that deduction. Otherwise, you will not be paid for that expense. It's important really to just read the guidelines for each client, to kind of brush up on what needs to be included, because every client is different. They have different requirements of what needs to be included on the expense report. So, that it also might pique your memory of an expense that you have that you may have forgotten, and might lead to a email from me from accounting to get you to include, a itemized laundry receipt or your zero balance folio. Expense authorizations. That's another big one. If you have an expense that you're not sure about, that's not usual, it's a good rule to remember. Maybe just go ahead and include an email authorization from the client, just to avoid, again, an email from me having to request that information. And if you include too much on your expense report, that's much better than not having enough. Because if you don't have enough, then that delays your report being approved,
right?
And that delays your pay. So it's always better to have too much than too little.
So Erin, let me cut in real fast. You had mentioned that it's important to make sure you know the difference between special custom policies for those expenses. And I think that that's an important thing to highlight, that Cadre, because it's an open platform and all sorts of clients and planners use this, that Cadre has its own base policy, right, of expenses. What it just real basic stuff is included in that. Todd, Erin, what all is included in the Cadre expense policy? To put you guys on the spot.
Well, I think it's pretty standard practice that all clients, we get a lot of questions like, are the clients paying for my hotel? Are the clients paying for air, right? In general, 99% of the time, it's an industry practice that when you travel, the client is going to take care of your air travel and they're going to take care of your hotel, right? The only reason they wouldn't, or if they don't, they have to stipulate that at the time of booking for some strange reason. But we've probably seen that once out of 10,000 times where they don't do that, right? For all the other expenses, your transfers, personal gratuities, luggage, we've got a basic policy. No sense in going through it all here, but I'm pretty sure it's in our knowledge base, and we can post a link to our knowledge base. That's where we keep all of our question and answers. And you can see our standard policy there, right? That's every time a planner posts an event, we say, this is our standard policy. Is this what you're going to go with? Or do you want to supplement it or change it, swap it out with your own policy, which they're welcome to do. And if they do that, then we make sure that you have that policy at the time of making your offer, right? So you know what that policy is and what you're getting into, right?
Excellent. And another question that I know we get pretty regularly is, do I need to include my negotiated day rate, my per diem, and that bonus? Erin, are those things that you need to see? I know that you said more information is better than no information, but is that too much information?
That is too much information.
Okay.
I do not need per diem. I do not need daily rate. I do not need bonus. I just need expenses. And
I want to add one thing, just because when I was when I was listening. So the one thing that I want to clarify from Erin is any advances other than per diem.
Right, because that's
Correct.
not an advance, right?
Yeah.
That's per diem.
I just want to,
Yeah.
I wanted to reiterate that. Any advances other than your per diem. So like you're in car rentals, or if for whatever there was a dinner and you needed extra funds or whatever it might be. It's anything other than your advance of per diem.
Yes, right.
And Erin, when they include their car rental receipt, they need to note that it's expensible.
Yes.
Yes, don't say it's not expensible because you got the advance. You need to make sure that's expensible because that offsets the money that we sent you for the car rental, hotel room, office supplies. So,
Yes.
Can you tell them how to do international currency exchange, what they need to do with all of that?
Sure. Everything has to be submitted in USD. We do not reimburse that's not USD. The original receipt needs to be included, as well as a screenshot of the currency conversion going from the foreign currency to USD. And that should be attached as not reimbursable. So it'll fill in the $0 or the blank expense amount. And then the amount will be included with the receipt in USD.
And another question too, if there's two receipts and you can only upload one, how do they upload the second receipt?
They'll do it on a different expense line, but the amount should only be included one time.
I have a question.
And that will be unreimbursable.
Yes.
They do the description and then they put unreimbursable of what it's for.
And that's more of a workaround right now. We already have a case into our developers to allow you to upload more than one attachment per expense line.
And Erin, what is the best way to do it if they have either a car rental or luggage expenses, but they are post extending and need to get it in before their expenses close out? What's the best way for them to do that? Or if they're back to back from another program? I know we get that a lot, so just want to touch base on those too.
Well, if they're back to back, include the expenses that you already have. If you're on a merits program and you're back to back, if you don't have your hotel folio, go ahead and just make a note that I'm back to back, or I'm on wave one. I don't have my hotel folio available to me. Just include that. I'm not 100% sure about post extending. I'll have to think about that. Sorry for.
No, that's quite all right. I just know that sometimes that happens, or we have those questions, or we're waiting for them. So I thought I would just ask it on behalf of everybody else.
Do the freelancers have any questions?
Well, we have one question that came through. Can tolls be expensed? I didn't see that in the list when I did my expenses.
Tolls.
They can.
Yeah, I don't think we specifically address tolls in our expense policy, but I think it's reasonable to say if you were driving to the airport in Chicago and you had to drive on 294 and go through 3 toll booths, that we would reimburse you for those tolls and your mileage, right?
Yeah, I think the question is, how do you do that?
But just make a receipt, notate your tolls, and then on your line put tolls, and because we need a receipt for any expense, so then you have it outlined 50 cents, $1, whatever it is for the tolls, but here's the total.
Yeah.
On the date, and there's the total.
As long as it's in writing and we've got something to trace back to the client.
Yeah. Also, if, you're in New York or Chicago or whatever, and you're taking the L or the transportation in New York, I don't know what that's called. Anyway, you can expense that back because that is your transportation. Just make a line and put the amount and then make a receipt for, your $250 or $15 or whatever that transportation is.
Excellent. And Erin, remind us, what is that turnaround time? What is the payment schedule? Just to remind everyone of that.
Expense reports that are received and processed by the 15th will be paid on the 30th. Expense reports that are received and processed by the 1st will be paid on the 15th.
Wonderful.
I've listed that in the chat section as well.
Perfect.
If anybody wants it to read.
Excellent. Wonderful. What other questions are out there from our freelancers? I know that we've tackled a lot already and it's been a lot of information, but what other questions do we have out in the Cadre universe that we can answer for you?
Even if they're not expense report related, we have some things we can show you, but what questions do you have? Make this a real town hall for us.
One just came through.
Sure.
What if we're only interested in one destination to work only? Do you do that? Yeah, we do.
Sure. I mean, if I interpret the question as I live in Pittsburgh and I only want to work in Pittsburgh, right? That's fine. We can't, as a freelancer, we can't make you take events, right? So when you'll see two kinds of events come through in Cadre. We've talked about this a little bit before in earlier Cadre talks in town halls. There are public events and there are private events. And public events are the events that you see that hit your email that say, hey, there's a new event. Here's the location and dates, and you may want to log in to take a look at it. That is sent by the client to everyone in the system. And it's just blasting it out there, everyone saying, come take a look at it if you're interested, right? Make your offer. The other kind of event is a private event. When they post it, they have to invite certain people, or they have their choice. They can invite you to the event, right? Specifically you, right? And then you can respond. So when you see public events come through that aren't in Pittsburgh, right? There's no need for you to do anything at that point, right? But if you see events that are in Pittsburgh, then it's a good idea to log in, obviously, and make your offer. And in your profile, you should note that. You should be like, I only want to work local events in Pittsburgh, or and make sure that your location, right, on the first page of your profile, there's a field at the bottom of your profile, down below on the same page where you have your name and email and everything, and it asks you, where are you located, right? And we do that because sometimes your address is different than where you are, right? You could live in Nashville, but for 3 months you could be in Seattle. And that means locally you could take on local Seattle jobs, right? So you can change that location of where you're at. And I would just make sure if you're the one in Pittsburgh that only wants to work in Pittsburgh, that location is always set to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has gotten a lot of billing in this meeting so far. What other questions?
I see one here that's an easy one, I would say, is how do you tell the difference between a...
Can I mention one thing just before we go on? Because I've had this happen. When you go put on the first page, when you're registering like your city that you're in or where you're going in and out of, that's not the same as in the travel profile, the airport you're flying out of. Because we had a TD move, they changed that area of where I'm from, but they didn't go to the travel profile to change their new airport. So just make sure that you're changing everything in your travel profile if you're flying out of a different airport.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I had to say.
Probably put a reminder in there too when you change one, you change the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just goes to the larger issue of keeping your profile updated, right? What's the easy question again? I like
Oh.
easy questions.
Yeah, right. How do you tell the difference between a private and public event? So basically, any public event you will automatically see once you log into your Cadre profile. The private events you are invited to. So on the left-hand side, you'll see there's an invited tab, and those are the private listings. But anything that is just public within the Cadre platform, you will be able to see in your dashboard when you log in.
And both of them trigger an email to you, right? The public one is very generic. It says there's a new event. Here's the name of it. I think it's name, location, and dates, right? Don't hold me to that, but I think it's just very basic information. It might just be name and location, and then we don't show dates because we want you to log in to take a look at it, right? I can't remember, but it's limited. But basically, it's like, hey, there's a new event, come take a look, right? The private event, when you get an invite, is a little bit different, right? It is, since they're asking you specifically to work on this event, we show you a little bit more information in that email. This is where it is. This is the name of it. This is where it is. This is, I think we even say the planner's name. I think we even say we're holding a position for you, because we literally are. When you get invited to an event, you have to be invited. If there's 10 TDs on that event, they have to invite you to be in one of those positions, right? So if there are 5 TDs, they can only make 5 invites to that event, right? They can't invite 30 people for 5 positions, right? They're literally holding that for you. But if you don't respond, they can uninvite you and invite somebody else, right?
Excellent.
All right, more questions.
So I think this is a good question for Erin. If we do not include our daily rate and per diem on our expense report, will we receive 2 separate checks? So is it 1 check for expenses and 1 for the daily rate? And I would like to first start out by saying we don't do checks. No checks involved, which makes Erin's life so much easier.
Yeah, we pay via ACH directly to the bank. No, you will not receive 2 separate checks. You'll receive your per diem before the program starts, and then your expenses and your pay will be included in 1 deposit to your bank. So the per diem will be separate before the program, pay and expenses will be after the program.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you. That was a nice, quick, easy answer. I love it. We've got another question in here. When a large group needs many extra support staff, how is that identified, and how do we know that they are hiring non-local staff and paying for accommodations? Todd, could you pull up the event details so that we can take a look at what event details are shown?
Sure.
Thank you.
So again, we're going to look at, this is the planner view. Do we want freelancer side, right?
Yeah, I think that would be especially helpful in the moment. Thank you.
So this is one of our freelancers. This is what you see when you log into Cadre. She has an event, the West Region MSEP training in Phoenix, the 4th of August through the 6th. And you want me to open up details so you can speak to it?
Yes, please. Or to open up one of the new projects.
Oh, that's right. This is someone who's contracted. Yeah. So let's look.
Perfect. All right. Excellent.
So this is a publicly posted event, correct?
Correct.
And
the way that we know that is a couple different ways. One, Kristen can see it, so it doesn't say that it's invited, so she can easily see it. The other way, in those project details there, if you see project visibility, it says public. So 2 easy ways to determine whether it's posted privately or not. The client for this one who posted this added in those project notes must be local. So a lot of other clients do the same. If they're looking specifically for local staff, they'll put it right into those project notes. Accommodations are listed on there as well. Todd, could you highlight those accommodations for us, please? Beneath dress code, thank you. So it'll be listed in there what the accommodations are. Is it a private room, a shared room, no room at all? It all depends on what the client is offering. For this particular one, for this specific job, it looks like they're looking for someone local, but they're willing to put them up for a night. So it all depends on what the client needs, and every client is different. So hopefully that helps answer that. But if there's a specific or custom policies, they would be listed in there, along with any custom expense policies. And it does not look like there is a custom expense policy right in there. So
when you look at the expense, when you look at the details of an event, and if you click on view the expense policy, when the slide out comes out, it's going to show you the Cadre expense policy, unless it's been supplanted by a client expense policy, right? Now, this is the one that rules for this event.
excellent.
Okay, we have another question of, if the expenses are not approved, will you let us know?
Yes.
We will hold you in limbo forever.
Yeah, chances are, if I have a question, I'll ask you. If you have approval from the client, that expense will be approved. If it's not approved by the client, it won't be approved. And you will probably know that before it's disapproved.
Yeah, I mean, we want to close it out, right? We don't want to be hanging out there. We want to get your event pay. We want to get you the other 7 expenses that you submitted that are, authorized. So we really we have every incentive to get that closed out and clear the event.
Yeah.
Right.
So Erin, what if someone's waiting for a credit card receipt, hotel, something that they can't submit within the 7 days? What do they do to let you know that they have the receipt coming? So they don't submit and then say, oh, now I need to add this expense.
Send me an email and I'll hold on to it as long as I can. But you'll have to be aware that that will delay your pay. The expense report will auto submit, so it's just always better to email accounting. So at least I'll know, and I can make a note on the expense report to hold it. And I can hold it for a few days, but it will delay the pay. Just be aware of that.
Todd, could you go back into the freelancer profile and into one of the closed events for Kristen? And I would like to show people how to download their event summary, their project summary, so they can view their the expenses that were approved, their payment, and all of those details, because it's quick and easy.
You mean a completed event, a completed contract?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Let's see if this has one. And then we want to go to payments, I believe.
Correct.
And in payments,
scroll on down to the bottom where it says print summary.
Right down here.
Yes. So it's really easy. You find that job that you want that information for. You go to the payment tab, and then you click that blue button, print summary. It'll pop up in a new tab just like this. Give it a second to load. And this one, she didn't have any expenses, but if she did, that would be listed in here as well. So it's a complete summary of what you were paid for that particular event.
Yeah, it's basically what you're seeing here. By the end of an event, you should see all of your event accounting right here in the payment complete section.
Exactly.
So
working for you?
All right, what other questions do we have that are not expense report related? I mean, I love expenses as much as the next guy, but after a while, I need something that isn't expense related. So
Well, head back
Yeah, what do you
into
wanna
that
say?
freelancer profile, Todd, because we've got questions about asking for reviews to improve our rating. So first, can we show people where to see their reviews, the reviews that they currently have, and then
Sure.
where they can start asking for additional feedback and reviews?
Okay, so in Cadre, we'll go back over to Kristen, right, in her dashboard. And Kristen, when you log in, you come to your dashboard, you can see your rating and your reviews right here. It's a clickable link, okay? And when you click on them, you'll see them come out,
Nice.
okay?
Point out that it's anonymous in there, so you don't know which of your clients posted that for which job, but it is a nice review so that, you know, like an Amazon review, Amazon product review, you can tell that it was, you know, the review that they posted in there, and it'll all conglomerate together. So that's reviews. Where can people ask for reviews?
So asking for reviews is something we're working really hard to get built into the system, right? After every event, we automatically send an email to the planner, right? And it lists all the staff on that event, and it gives them a chance to give each one of those staff a 1 to 5 star rating, and then provide comments like you saw. And when that gets submitted, then that gets put into your rating profile, right? So that's already built into the system. We're just starting to run events again, and getting people to put in ratings is a hard thing to do. So we're trying to do that more and more and more, right? We're trying to get, and we're going to find a way to incentivize planners to do just that, because it's important, right? And people want something to be able to tout, and I don't blame them. If you haven't been booked in Cadre yet, and that feedback loop doesn't exist for you yet, what we're trying to build, and we've spoken about this before, is when you build out your profile, right? You can come down to your work experience area, and we allow you to upload either planning experience, a planning project, or an on-site event contract, right? Outside of Cadre, things you've done working for ETD or directly with BCD or EEG or a pharma company, wherever you got booked, right? You can add that here. And then our intention, as soon as we can get our development guys hot on it, is to give you a link right here and to say, ask for a review from that planner that you worked for on that event. And we'll populate it into Cadre so you can start building your reviews in Cadre, even if you didn't work on an event yet in Cadre, because we don't want that to hold you back from getting booked in the future.
Excellent.
While we're here, Kate, it might be good to show people, I think we've talked about public profiles before.
You read my mind, Todd. That's exactly what I was going to suggest.
Dawn, why don't you talk about public profiles? You like talking about public profiles.
What do you mean?
In Cadre, we really want to build the platform out to be a way for freelancers to market themselves, right? If you notice, our business model is not to charge a planner $500 a day and pay a freelancer $400 a day and net the difference, right? Whatever you get booked for in Cadre, that's the pay you get. Whatever you agree to with the planner, that's what we pay you, right? Our business model is going to the planner and saying, this is a really good platform that makes it easy and compliant for you to contract all these people, pay us a fee to work on the system, right? But whatever you agree to with the planner, that's yours. It's yours to keep right? We're not taking a piece of your action. So we want this to be a place where freelancers feel comfortable to go out there and promote themselves as a Cadre freelancer within the system, because it's an easier way to get booked, right? We want you to be able to go to, if it's easier and more compliant for planners, we want you to be able to go to your clients and say, just book me on Cadre, pay me what you always pay me. They're not taking a piece out of my pay, and it's easier, simple, and more compliant for you, right? You don't have to onboard me, you don't have to do taxes at the end of the year, all that kind of stuff. So as a way to promote yourself, right, we're going to start building this element out in Cadre more and more. But if you go to your name in Cadre and you click on it, you'll see that we're starting to index through Google all of your profiles, right? So as you build out your profiles, it's very important to put in a good bio, listing all your skills and uploading any work history that you have, because all this information in your profile is getting cataloged in Google, so that when people search for freelance TV, food and beverage, Boston, your name may come up. And then
Yeah,
it might.
keywords, Todd, I want to add, keywords are so important here because
is.
people will search on Google for keywords.
So this is a
Explain more what
long,
that means though, Don, what the keywords are. What does that look like?
Keywords would be event manager, on-site, travel director, meeting planner, freelance meeting professional. And make sure all those keywords are in there so that if you're like, say that I'm looking for a freelancer, I may type in meeting planner San Diego, and then Cadre, or Cadre meeting planner San Diego, and bam, you would pop up. And because of those keywords that you had in your overview.
and so this is a long slog with Google, because it takes a long time to get all this done, but we're starting to get you all cataloged by location where you're at, right? So when someone's looking for staff in Orlando, we're starting to show people that have reviews, right? We're trying to pull people up with reviews first that have experience, right? And we're doing it by planning specialties or on-site specialties. And you can even see we're starting to map out, where do we do that, right? Let's go to, let's go back to Orlando. We're even starting to map out where everybody is, right? So if a client wants to find you, right, they can click on you and then request you to work an event through the map, right? I'll even go one step further. I mean, this is pretty much set up right now. If you're in Google and you type in your name, I'm going to use one of our freelancers that's on an event right now, Joy and Cadre. You should be able to Google yourself, and the first thing that should come up is your social profile in Google, right? Of the whatever that was, how many million responses, of the 42,000 responses, right? You're coming up. And this is essentially your Cadre profile, akin to your LinkedIn profile. When you Google yourself and you see your LinkedIn profile come up, we want your professional profile as a freelancer in the event world to show up here all the time, so clients can Google you, find you, and book you, right? That's the goal. Now we've got to have some questions.
We have a few people asking whether you get notified if a project is filled or canceled or deleted.
You should. But we get this question enough, or I really have to go back and check if there's any problems in the code, because we have an email set up that if you have made an offer on an event, whether that's a private or public event, and you've made an offer, you've engaged with that offer, but then the client either cancels the event, reduces the amount of positions so they don't have a spot for you now, right? Or the event is, or they fill it, frankly, without booking you, right? For any one of those three reasons, if that event, essentially there's 5 people they're looking for and they've booked all 5 people, or it's been canceled, when that event hits that point, anyone that did submit an offer should get an email back that says this event was closed. We don't tell you why it was closed. We just say it was closed, right? And it may be for any one of those 3 reasons.
Thank you very much. We'll be sure to double check on that, because it does seem to be a question that we get often enough that you're right. I'm wondering if it's not triggering correctly.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. If people have questions after our town hall, because if you're anything like me, you'll hop off of this and you'll start having a million questions, even though everyone is silent right now. If that happens, who should you turn to? So Todd, who's the best person to turn to for questions with Cadre? Kind of depends, right?
Yeah, we get, if you have a question about how Cadre works, right? Or how to do something in Cadre. I don't know if we've posted the knowledge base link, but if we haven't, let's do that now. It's a place where we put a bunch of Q&As, what we get asked, how we answer them, and a lot of the answers have videos, right, to show you how it works. Or if you've got a question that isn't answered there, just email us at support@hirecadre.com, right? Our staff's going to get it. We'll get an answer back to you pretty quickly. If you've got a question about a specific event, right? I need to come in. Is it okay if I come in by 1 p.m. on the first day, right? That's not a Cadre question. That's a planner question, right? So I would use the messaging through the system to ask the planner that's hired you, right, that question. Or if you're looking at an event and you have a question to the planner about the event, right, not how Cadre works, it's important that you use the Q&A feature, right, and say, hey, what did you mean by this? Or I just want to confirm that you are booking it, right? Something like that. There's a Q&A feature for every event. And you can just go in and ask the planner and it'll immediately message them, right?
Perfect.
So that's probably the distinguishing feature there. Do we talk about social media?
We didn't talk about it much, but make sure you follow us. I know that Don has added us in there.
Yeah, please do like us. We're sending more and more information out that way. We get some crazy requests out of nowhere. Not that needing a Canadian French speaker is crazy, but and sometimes that's the best way to get info out, right? Or I need someone in New Mexico and Neil West is out there, right? But he's not there right now, so we'll blast it out, right? There's a need for people to have the immediate reach out, right? So that's important. The other thing is have your profile active, right? There are certain parts of the profile that can be left unfilled and it's still active. And then there are certain things that need to be filled out that make it active, right? So make sure all the required elements are completed so that your profile is active, right? If it's not active, the planners really can't see you, right? Because we don't show inactive people to the planners. So if you want to get invited, if you want to show up in searches, if you want your public profile out there, right? Complete your background check. up until the end of this month, we're taking care of 50% of any new background checks, right? We're paying half of that, right? So it's $12.50 and it lasts a year. So it's like $1 a month, right? Complete the background check, right? If you've completed your background check, but you haven't selected your insurance, right? Or you haven't filled out your tax information, get it done so that you show up and that clients can invite you and you can get booked, because events are coming back. We saw some in June, we saw more in July, we're seeing a lot more in August, and our September is very busy, right? And
Todd, I got an email today and somebody was questioning, just to make sure, what do we do with a background check? How safe is their information? And could you just go into that, because I know it's safe, but kind of emphasize.
Sure. It's all the background check is completely automated. There's no paperwork involved, right? You are directly, when you authorize through Cadre to have your background check done, we work through an API directly with Checker, which is the same background check company that works with Uber, right? So you're gonna approve, or you're gonna okay all of the disclosures electronically, and then you're gonna authorize the background check, and it's gonna come back through the API. It literally happens 95% of the time within 5 minutes. Right? And we don't, all we see is clear, there's 4 checks, right, against 4 different databases, and we just see clear or consider, right? And clear is a good thing to see, and consider is something to look at, right? And we look at, and half the time on those considers, we can manually clear it, right? Because of the circumstances of that, right? But it's all kept within the system, and the planners never see any of your information. All they see is your verified background check clear.
I want to add,
Okay.
if I can, I want to add 2 things. Number one, a good question Michael Smith just asked was, if a background check was completed a year ago, where do I go to have it done again? Cadre will prompt you. When you log into your profile, you will get a reminder saying that your background check is due. So you don't really have to do anything other than log into your Cadre account, and it will prompt you when you need to redo it, and it will take you right to where you need to do it. So very user-friendly, very easy. The second thing I want to add is not only for you to pop up, for your profile to be active, to show up for planners, but this also goes for the managed account managers who are trying to contract you. Even though we may have previously reached out to you and confirmed you for a program, because things are a little different right now because we're slammed coming back into the planning world. We're not getting the contracts in until a shorter turnaround time. So having everybody active in the system will really help Kim and I out specifically when we're trying to contract you. Because if you're not popping up and we can't physically and actually add you to the contract,
we can't contract you.
Right.
Right?
yeah,
I mean,
it holds up everything.
You're in our system, but you're basically, you're a replacement. You're not active.
Yes.
You need to be active is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
One thing too, go in, so log in, and if it doesn't say active, then you're inactive. You'll probably have to redo your background check. Also, look at your travel information. Most people put in their passports, but passports have expired. If you don't have your new information in there, it'll make you inactive, even though it's a domestic program. That's still your travel information. So please go in there and just to make sure that your passport is up to date, because that's also going to hold up the staffing process. The background check, the passports, those are mainly the things that we're seeing now.
Yeah. So if you even know that your passport is going to expire soon, And if you're waiting for your passport to either come in or whatnot, either just let us know when that date is going to be, or I mean, we've kind of been telling people to just go in, like, if you know your passport's going to expire tomorrow, just go in and add a fake new date until the new one arrives so that we can contract you. If it's not an international program, like we just.
Or they can change to their driver's license and then change back to the passport.
There's that too. So there's different ways around it. We just need to make sure everyone is active, and even on a weekly basis, just like log in and make sure you're good.
When you log in and you go to your dashboard, this is what tells you if you're active or not. If you don't have a green active here, I believe it's red. And if you hover over it, it will tell you what items in your profile need to be remedied, right? In addition to that, whatever those items are, we turn them red over here, right? So it really comes down to make sure it's green, get rid of all the red. That's my
and with that, folks, we are out of time. So that is a perfect way to wrap things up. Make sure that you are active. Make sure that if you've got questions, to send them to the appropriate place. If it's about Cadre and how it's used, support@hirecadre.com. Otherwise, reach out to one of your account managers about the specific program. Thank you all so very much for joining us. We love seeing your smiling faces and the sunshine. It's so nice. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the sunshine. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.